I first went to Pakistan in September 1988 and I went trekking or hiking in Chitral, and on my 25th birthday I was tapped on the shoulder by the local Deputy Commissioner, Major Javed Majid, who told me that he wanted to set up a school because he wanted to educate his children, especially his daughter, in Chitral. He didn't want to send them down country. So he asked me if I would help him set up the school and bring some teachers and some school books and equipment and so on. Cut a long story short, I did, and he and his wife set up the school with the assistance of a number of English girls, of which I was one. And I taught for a year in Chitral, and it was the happiest year of my life. I started off my career in the city in London in finance. I spent 3 years doing equity analysis and then equity sales, ultimately at Britain's largest investment bank at the time, Kleinwort Benson. And I've spent a lifetime as a serial social entrepreneur, and I'm now going back into finance to raise an impact fund, a venture capital fund for girls and women. We're looking to identify early stage female-led businesses that have transformational technological solutions for the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So that might be education solutions, it might be mental health and well-being solutions, it might be solutions for climate. It's critically important that emerging economies like Pakistan, but particularly girls and women in these emerging economies, start to study science, maths, engineering, and technology. Otherwise, we're going to be kept out of the conversation for generations. After all, we don't want AI to be programmed by 17 to 25-year-old boys in Silicon Valley, do we? In the summer of 1989, I was invited to a fundraiser for the Shaukat Khanum hospital, cancer hospital, by your former Prime Minister, Imran Khan. And I attended, and it was at the house of a dear friend of mine in Lahore. I was in Lahore, and I met some Indian movie stars, Rekha, Kabir Bedi, and a number of other incredibly beautiful and glamorous sort of Pakistani ladies, including Nazia Hassan, who became my best friend in Pakistan, Nazia and Zohaib. And all these very glamorous ladies were wearing Pashmina shawls, and I'd never seen anything quite so beautiful or quite so soft. So I asked them what they were, and Rekha said to me, "Oh, I'll get you one, no problem. They're just $2,000. And at the time I was on my Chitrali volunteer salary, so that was kind of out of the question. Anyway, fast forward a year, and I was attending a wedding in Nepal, and my hostess told me that they were actually made around the corner. So I went there. I was the first Westerner through the door, and I started bringing them back to the West. I say repopularizing them because, of course, they'd been hugely popular in the 19th century. Napoleon's wife was the original champion of Pashminas, the Empress Josephine. And then they were very popular amongst the British Memsahbs, I think, in the 20s and 30s. And then after 1947, the business of Pashmina really died out. And so I resuscitated it, you can say. It became a global phenomenon. And I gave 10% of profits to fund the schools that we were supporting. And then in 2008, I was asked by King Charles III's non-profit Turquoise Mountain, through his CEO at the time, Rory Stewart, to return to Afghanistan and set up the first jewellery school. So it was too irresistible a challenge for me, and so I put my fashion business on hold and shot off to Kabul, arrived in the coldest winter on record in January 2008. Luckily I was swathed in pashminas from head to toe, and set up the jewellery program at Turquoise Mountain, and ended up staying in Afghanistan for a number of years to really try to develop the gemstone and jewellery sector with the Ministry of Mines and Petroleum. I became a consultant with the World Bank there and so on, but I kept coming to Pakistan to visit my old school in Chitral and my old friends in Chitral whom I adore. and also to start to look at building Future Brilliance, my second non-profit, to start to see whether there was an opportunity to provide some benefit to Pakistan. So over the last year, I've spent several months back in Pakistan. I went back to Chitral and visited the village where there is now a thriving economy, and girls and women are heavily engaged in business, and many of them are architects and lawyers and engineers. The rate of infant and maternal mortality has gone down substantially because there are more female nurses and female doctors now, which is wonderful. And while I was there, I started looking into registering a local non-profit, Future Brilliance Pakistan, with a local Pakistani board to start to replicate the model of international development that we've been rolling out in Afghanistan. So that I'm hoping is going to come through in the next few weeks, and we're going to start to be able to deliver digital literacy and enterprise training for girls and women in rural areas such as Gilgit and Swat and in Chitral. My hope is that more governments will fight less and understand that we as a species are under attack, right? So when are we going to realize that we need to combine, we need to collaborate, we need to very seriously sign up to these global development goals and deliver on them, or your children and your grandchildren will not have a life worth living, regardless of whether they live in Pakistan, in India, in the UK, America. We're all in the same boat. It's just one blue, rotating globe in a vast expanse of nothingness. So let's keep life on the planet alive.